What's up YouTube, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Flywoo Nano Baby 2S, which is a 2S 2-inch toothpick style drone that has a square carbon fiber frame. This drone has a all-in-one board for both the ESC and flight controller, which is rated for 15 amps on 2S, which is the maximum input voltage for this drone. It has 1002 15,000 kV motors, and that are using bi-bladed props, which is what it came with. In this configuration, I have the analog version that is 600 milliwatts with a FrSky XM Plus module, though it also comes in HD0, walk, snail, and DJI. The dry rate of my version, which is the analog version with the bi-bladed propellers and a rubber band to hold the battery in, comes in at a total of 35 grams. A Lumineer 300 mAh 2S battery comes in at 19 grams with the XT30 connector. A Tattoo 450 mAh 2S battery weighs 27 grams with the included XT30 connector. And this drone using the 300 mAh 2S comes in at a total of 55 grams. And using the 450 mAh 2S, it comes in at 64 grams. This is the largest battery that I'd recommend using this drone if you want to maintain performance. As usual for analog, I'll be using a pair of the Fat Shark Dominator V2s with a right-hand circularly polarized omnidirectional antenna for this quad. Alright, so starting off this flight footage, I will be outside flying this quad. You can fly it inside, and if you do, I recommend using the included prop guards, which I actually did fly for a while. It's pretty fast for inside. It's not going to give you the same protection as a Whoop or durability. And your props will get very chewed up very fast. As you can see, it is very fast. The tune felt pretty good. There was a little bit of prop wash. The only thing to note is I was doing some testing with larger batteries like 1000 mAh 2S and even a 2000. And if you do go above that, you'll be getting a lot of prop wash and your tune will be feeling pretty bad. In this configuration, this was flown on a 300 mAh 2S. I felt the tune was pretty good. It felt pretty quick. You can see the punch out there is pretty decent, even though our voltage is starting to decline. One thing was interesting about this drone is I felt I was able to maintain a higher speed. Even though the raw punch out wasn't that good, the way it carries its momentum allows you to go very fast. And I do think because of that, and this is going to be the fastest version because it has the lightest VTX. If you get HD0, it'll be about 5 grams more. Walk snail about 7 grams more, so not too bad. And if you get DJI, I'm actually not sure specifically how many grams more, but I believe that has a Caddx Vista with the casing, the metal pieces taken off of it, but it still adds a lot of weight, and that quad becomes less nimble. Not sure if I'd recommend that version, especially considering this drone usually gets around 2 to 3 minutes of flying if you're flying like I am here. And with that Caddx Vista, not only will that go down, but you're also really not going to need that range because you're not going to have the flight time to really get out there. Also, if you notice, the RSSI on mine is really low for some reason. I've only had 2 instances where it's fail-safed in a space that is this size flying outside. My antenna for the receiver did come kind of beat up. It's always been like that, but I haven't had too much trouble. And this VTX supports a max of 600 milliwatts, though that is depending on temperature. So if you're in a really hot space or if it's just sitting there, it will go down. It's not just set at 600, and that's why you see max in the top right-hand corner. So at the end of this flight, this came in at around 2 minutes and 51 seconds after I finished this punch-up. Alright, so here we can see a crash reel, and this drone is incredibly durable. I've crashed it a ton. I didn't have it on recording, but straight into pavement, and it did not seem to break at all. This drone is very durable. The only thing I noted is, as you saw there, if you nick any corner or anything, it just kind of falls out of the sky. At first I thought it was just the propellers flying off because they are just friction fit, but it wasn't, and I'm not too sure about that. And it's also important to note, they do ship a battery carriage thing that you can mount on the bottom. I don't use it because it doesn't fit my battery, so I just use a rubber band, and even with that, The battery ejections are prone, and they did not include strain relief on the leads that go into the ESC. So if you're going to be crashing a lot, I would recommend adding those. Alright, so overall this drone was a pretty fun drone that had decent range and decent specs. It also comes in at a pretty fair price. It came in around $180, and for this drone, of course, you're going to have to decide if you think that's an acceptable price. I found that it's incredibly durable, and even like yesterday I was flying, I slammed directly into pavement on the top of the drone. This thing is incredibly durable. So if you're looking for something that's probably going to last a while and be pretty durable, this might be what's for you, because even those thin carbon fibers did not seem to break. It's also pretty quick and gets decent enough flight time, coming in at around 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how hard you're flying and how big of a battery you've decided to carry. So overall, I would say this drone gets my pretty positive opinion. And if you do have any other video signals or systems, it does come in pretty much all the options that I know of. I bought this before I got an HD0 system, which is why I have the analog version. But even then, I'm still pretty happy. The only thing I'm not a fan of is the VTX. You saw I was on F1, but my goggles were actually connected on race band 3. I don't know if the table came set up misconfigured, but I was having a lot of issues with this. In the VTX tables on their website did not seem to help at all. So I ended up setting it to, it's called Airwave 1, which matched similar frequencies to race band 3, which is the band that I use, which ended up working. So that was really the only real issue I had with this quad. So overall, I would say it is pretty positive. The only other thing I think is important to note is if you do decide to get those other video systems, they do only have one tune, which is pretty significant, because if you get the one with DJI in it that's significantly heavier, they still use the same tune, and people seem to suggest that it is the tune that is properly done for the analog version. So if you have a different version, it might not fly great, and you might need to put another tune on it. Though if you are just getting the HD0 or Walk Snail, it doesn't seem to be much of an issue because it's not that much added weight. So overall, I give this drone a strong recommendation to purchase, because I think it's going to last a while, and it's overall just really fun to fly, especially if you have a pretty limited backyard space. This will last a while and be a lot of fun. And if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.